Hi everybody, Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. The narcissistic parent. If you have a parent with narcissistic personality disorder, or you are co-parenting with a narcissist, you probably experience a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion. Sometimes that person is on it and sometimes not at all. Sometimes they seem loving and then again, not at all. How do you make sense of it all the mixed messages, and more importantly, how do you cope? We'll dive into the 9 traits of someone with NPD, and we'll talk about how they play out in their parenting. Number 1, the first trait, is arrogant behaviors and attitudes. They need to be the center of attention. They can't share the spotlight. They get bored or angry if others are being given more attention. They're generally not interested in others. Parenting, on the other hand, demands a selfless attention to your child, often at the complete exclusion of yourself. As parents, we learn that self-care goes out the window and we have to consciously work to get it back, or we crash and burn out. We all have funny stories of being so preoccupied with our kids that we go to work with our slippers on or with baby puke on our shirts. It's just normal for being a parent. So you can already see that even just trait number 1 and normal parenting are complete opposites. In my experience, those people parented by someone with NPD feel very confused about whether they are really loved and often begin to feel unloved and unlovable. Typically, unless you're bringing glory to that parent, possibly through your achievements or when you are very cute and adoring of that parent, you may get some of their attention for those things, but otherwise, not at all. As a co-parent, you'll be going it alone for the most part, for the thankless drudgery work of parenting, but then they may show up and get the kudos or the credit or to try to look like a great parent, or when the photo shoot for the Christmas cards comes along. Number 2, grandiose sense of self-importance. They exaggerate, they act superior, they expect to be recognized. Being parented by this type of personality means that you watch them build themselves up. You're expected to bolster their grandiosity, and realizing you will not be given importance unless you're bringing them recognition, you really usually step up to that plate, at least initially. As a co-parent, you're expected to really parent them. You build them up, taking care of their fragile ego, as well as the kids, and getting no help unless or until it suits them. Number 3, they're preoccupied with unlimited money, success, power, brilliance, and beauty. As the child, the focus is on the superficial, and this can be intensely undermining of your development of a healthy sense of self. You are only noticed for those attributes, and not ever for your being caring or kind or empathic. Your self-esteem may be grandiose as well, or it might be very poor if you feel you can't measure up. As a co-parent, you're expected to value these superficial attributes, and it can be very frustrating to try to raise children together with completely different values. Number 4, they believe they are special and can only be understood by other special people. Yes, we're all special, but this is the person that really puts themselves on a pedestal and really feels that no one else understands them because they're too brilliant, etc. Being parented by this person is very confusing. Your parent is above all others usually, but you see their fragility and their childishness. So you're expected to hold up that story that they are extraordinary, and not to think of yourself as anything interesting or special, so as not to compete for any time or attention. If you ever stop adoring them, say as a teenager, your value to them implodes and dissolves completely. As a co-parent, you're up against a black hole. They'll absorb all the energy out of the room, and you're already trapped into being a parent to them, and not only do you not get their help, they suck the life out of you with their needs and childishness. The 5th trait of a narcissist is that they require excessive admiration, continuous recognition, and this admiration has to feed their fragile ego structure. As a child, you have a sense of your parent being fragile and yet above others. This is a confusing story, and it causes a cognitive dissonance. You know you're supposed to worship that parent, but you don't even know if you respect them some of the time. Sometimes a child does worship that parent until they show their true colors, and then that realization is pretty devastating. As a co-parent, you have to bolster them as much as you can to placate them and prevent drama. But during the times you're exhausted, like all parents are at times, you resent that person and hate that they ask so much and give so little. The 6th trait is a sense of entitlement and expectations of others. They continuously expect others to cater to their needs, and they get upset or angry when they are ignored or not catered to. As a child of a narcissist, this can be very embarrassing and can lead to choosing passivity as you witness that parent going off on random people when they don't get their way. However, it can also lead the child to feel the same entitlement and expectation that other people will take care of, cater to, and placate your frustrations. You also then resent if you're not catered to, and as a co-parent, this can be the source of real anger as you have to become everything to everyone and you're not given the support or value. Number 7 is they are very exploitative. They take advantage for their own needs and ends. They're exceedingly self-centered. As a child, you watch this in your parent and you're either ashamed and angered, or you grow up thinking it's okay to treat others this way. Or you even adopt a merging of the two and you act in self-centered ways and then you feel ashamed. As a co-parent, you're horrified by their behavior towards others and increasingly unnerved by the demands on you. The 8th trait is lacking in empathy. They are unwilling to recognize feelings and the needs of others. As a child, you need empathy, caring, kindness from your parents. When a parent lacks empathy and is unwilling to recognize the feelings and needs of others, they really lack that one very special, essential characteristic of parenting. You're left to feel alone, unheard, misunderstood, and disregarded. As a co-parent, you're really going it alone, with no empathy and no connectedness to your feelings or needs, or the needs or feelings of your children. Number 9, they are envious of others and they believe others are envious of them. This focus on envy and superficiality is a profound part of the problem with their parenting. There's little recognition of any deeper sense of self or sense of meaning or purpose in life. In my experience, it's common for a narcissistic parent to even be envious of their child, and for them getting attention from the other parent, or for their successes or their beauty or skills in athletics, or even for pursuing their dreams that the parent kind of wanted to pursue but never did. It can be any number of things. This is tragic for a child to have to navigate that mess of envy and resentment that's completely inappropriate and childish. As a co-parent, you're navigating this minefield also, where paying attention to your child leads to explosions from your spouse, and ignoring your child wounds their growing sense of self and hurts their hearts. Healing as a child of a narcissist, it's critical to realize you are not to blame for their narcissistic traits. You didn't cause it and you can't cure it. Their envy, their resentment, selfishness, neediness, being hot and cold with you depending on whether you were meeting their needs or causing them to be glorified or not, their poor modeling in terms of being all about themselves, lacking empathy, focusing on the superficial, and acting in entitled ways, they've left you with some confusing holes to fill. But there are 2 main coping strategies. Number 1, reassess who you are. Are you empathic, caring, kind, able to share and be there for others, able to focus on your values and character qualities rather than on superficial things? And number 2, realize that you are not your parents and you are not valued based on how they valued or didn't value you. You are your character qualities and your values, what matters to you, how you treat people, and how you live your life and care about others. I've worked with many people who had very poor parents and were great at parenting their own children because it mattered to them and it mattered to do it differently. As a co-parent, if you can move on from this relationship, do it. The narcissist is, by definition, incapable of co-parenting with you. If you must stay, set clear boundaries and stick to them. And if they continue to break them, rethink the staying and make a new plan to get free. Staying for the kids is a common reason to stay. However, it's important you step back and look at the wisdom in this for your specific situation. Is it really best for the kids? Is it going to cause them more harm than good for you to stay? These are difficult decisions, and if you can get with a therapist to process this, it's the best course for sure. If you appreciated this video, please like and share it on your social media, and also subscribe to this channel so you'll get notification when I put out a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.